Welcome. So, today we're going to dive into a story that touches on one of our most profound challenges as human beings. How do you respond when you're faced with a deep personal injustice? It's a journey into the power of forgiveness and, that search for purpose when it feels like all is lost. So, let's just start with a pretty provocative question, right? Can forgiveness actually be a superpower? I know it sounds like something straight out of a comic book, but through one man's incredible journey, we're going to explore how this seemingly simple act can unlock some truly extraordinary strength. All right, so where does this all begin? Well, our story kicks off at a moment of absolute crisis. The one single event that would completely change the course of a man named Stephen's life, forever. I mean, just try to imagine it. Life as Stephen knew it was just shattered. A profound injustice struck. And in an instant, his world, his plans, his entire future, poof, it just vanished. It was a devastating blow that left him completely reeling, just lost in disbelief. So, after that initial shock starts to fade, something else creeps in, something heavy and all-consuming. We're now moving into the emotional aftermath, this internal battle that Stephen had to wage with the sheer weight of his own anger. This here really frames the internal prison he was in, right? On one side, you see the cost of resentment, that constant bitterness, the past just poisoning every single moment of the present. It was such a heavy burden to carry. And then on the other side, there's the promise of peace, a future that's finally free. But for a really long time, that freedom, it just seemed completely impossible. And look, this wasn't just some abstract feeling. This anger had real, tangible consequences. It showed up as constant anxiety. He was just replaying the past over and over and over again in his head, this mental loop he just couldn't break. It started damaging his relationships with the people who cared about him. And maybe worst of all, it led to a total and complete loss of hope. But then something shifted. This brings us to the major turning point in the story. And it wasn't a slow, gradual change. It was a sudden, powerful moment of clarity. We're calling it Stephen's vision of forgiveness. So, what was this vision? This is really the crucial point. It wasn't about excusing what happened or pretending the pain wasn't real. No. It was a lightning bolt of realization that forgiveness, it's an active self-preservation. It's a choice you make for yourself to release that burden of anger, not for the person who wronged you. And Stephen himself put it perfectly with this quote. He said, "I realized the anger was a chain and I was the only one holding the key." Wow. I mean, that just so powerfully shows his shift in perspective from being a victim of his circumstances to becoming the agent of his own freedom. Okay, so having the key is one thing. Actually using it to unlock the chain, that's another thing entirely. So next, we're going to see how Stephen moved from that incredible insight to real action, taking these deliberate steps on his path to peace. Now, this wasn't magic. This was hard, emotional work. First step, acknowledge the harm. This is so important. You can't heal a wound by pretending it isn't there. You have to face it. Second, he had to reframe the narrative. Basically, take back the pen and rewrite his own story from victim to survivor. Third, he had to consciously choose a new path. That meant actively deciding to let go of that desire for revenge that keeps you chained to the past. And finally, and this is the hardest step for so many, embracing empathy. Not to condone what was done, but to understand the broader context. It's what helps loosen that personal grip of the trauma so you can finally move forward. And this difficult path, it led somewhere truly extraordinary. This brings us to the final, transformative stage of Stephen's journey, the discovery of a brand new purpose that actually grew directly out of his pain. Remember that slide from earlier, the one showing a shattered life? Well, this right here is the powerful counterpoint. By letting go of the past, by using that key to unlock the chain of anger, he didn't just go back to his old life. He unlocked an entirely new and way more meaningful future. And this chart really paints a picture of what that new future looks like. All that space in his life that was once just consumed by resentment, now it's filled with all these positive, forward-looking forces. This isn't just about recovery. It's about growth. Purpose, born directly from his experience, now defines his life. It's just a profound illustration of how something new and powerful can grow from our deepest wounds. And so we end by turning this question back to you. Stephen's story shows us that forgiveness isn't about weakness. It's about reclaiming your own power. It's about finding the key to your own chain. So this leaves us with just one final thought. What future could you unlock by forgiving your past?